Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make an animated GIF using Adobe Photoshop. So firstly you need to load Adobe Photoshop and then you need to decide what media platform or social media app you want to make your animated GIF for. Today I'm going to make an Instagram post. So when I click Create New, rather than just blindly clicking Create without even naming my file, which a lot of people are inclined to do because it's just easier to start creating and everyone's exciting to start creating stuff, you need to do a little bit of research to just see what size you need to put in these settings here. So what I'll do is I'll go to Google and I will ask it what the Instagram dimensions are, okay? When I type that in, you'll see that it tells me that the best size is 1080 pixels by 1080 pixels. So what I'll need to do then is use those preset details. Firstly, I'll name my file Instagram post YC for use choice. Click on the dimensions and change them to pixels. Change the width to 1080 and change the height to 1080. I'm going to put my resolution at, yep, that's fine, 300 pixels per inch is a good standard resolution, and then click Create. Now you'll see that I have a square canvas ready to do my animated GIF. If I click Window in Photoshop, I can go to a workspace that allows me to create motion. This timeline will then pop up and I can click Create Video Timeline. If I then change it so I can see each frame, it makes it easier to work with. So I'll change the delay that each frame will be on the screen for to only 0.1 seconds because that's a very fast moving animated GIF. I can change that again if that's too fast or I want to make adjustments. What I want to do now is find some assets, logos, graphics that I can use for my animated GIF. So there is in the student resources folder, there is a folder called Youth Choice Assets, and I can add the Youth Choice logos are in here, and when I open it up it looks like this. If I then select one of these logos, so I'm going to select this one, I'm going to copy that by pressing Control and C. If you're on a Mac, you can press Command and C, that's the same thing, and then press Control or Command and V to paste it. So if you then paste it as a pixels, you will get a layer here with the two parts of the logo. Now I want to split that into two layers so that I can make this animated GIF flash one layer after the other. So if I use my magic wand tool, because it's all one color, I can select the youth's part of the youth's choice. I can then press Control C to copy that and Control V to paste it. You'll see that I've now created a new layer, layer 2, which has got the youth's part of the youth's choice on. Select the layer 1 again, click the youth's choice part of the youth's choice and then delete it. You'll notice that when I do that, I might not have copied this part of the O. So just to check that, I'll get rid of this layer, have a look at that. Yes, I'm absolutely right. I haven't copied the part of the O. So that middle bit of the O is still on layer 1. Okay, so I will just select that, Control C, and then onto this layer and Control V, so I've got that. In fact, I'm going to use that as a third part of the animation. So you could even animate that to look like some dots, for example, but we'll come on to that. So you can essentially, the things that you want to animate, you want to be splitting onto separate layers, so that if you look at how I'm turning these things on and off, that is essentially like your animation, okay? So if I want to make a really basic animated GIF, you start with the timeline, you change this to last for as long as you want. If I go 0.1 seconds and then copy that by pressing this plus button, I've now got a second frame. Now in this frame I might decide that I want that to go off. So there's that layer, copy another one, and this time I'm going to turn that one on but turn that one off, and maybe turn that one off. In fact, you know what, I'm going to go into this layer, I'm going to just delete that part of the O from that layer. So it still exists, but it's on this layer. Okay. Then I'm going to copy another frame and then just decide what you want in each frame and how you want your animation to work. If you have selected something and you get these glowy lines, you can just deselect them by pressing Control and D or Command and D, and they'll just turn off for you. Okay, so I'm going to go with that kind of animation, but on this one I want to add my layer 3, so you effectively get and on this one I'm going to turn off that one. Now you'll notice that on the first one these things are being copied, so when I removed that layer on the first frame, it's removed it for all of them. So in order to avoid that, you want to start with what you want to start with, and then you can then tweak what you want after that. So that's my first layer, this is my second frame, my third one, and then finally in the fourth one I can have them all on the screen. Now if you press this play button now and you have this set up forever, when you press play you get this kind of flashing thing. That might be a little bit too fast, so if I change this to 0.2 seconds, you can even change 1 to 0.2, 1 to 0.5, so you might decide that it kind of goes like that, or maybe that dot's on a bit too long, so that one I want shorter, this one I want longer, maybe the whole logo needs to be on for quite a long time, you know, so you can kind of play around with how they appear. If I make them all a uniform 0.2, except for that dot there, then that's how your animated GIF will look on the screen. I've kind of gone a little bit too close to the edge there with my margin, so what I am going to do is I am going to select everything and just I'm going to select it all, and I'm going to use the free transform function, which is Control and T, just to shrink that down a little bit. Okay, what you'll notice there is that if you just do the free transform on one layer, it doesn't have all of them. If you select all of them by either clicking the top one, holding shift and clicking the next one, then you can press Control T and it will resize everything. So if I now put that in the middle there, that's what I end up with. Go back and test the animation. So now you'll see it looks like that, and I'm quite happy with that. If I wanted to do another version, I could split more layers. So I could, for example, go with the O from the Youth Choice logo here. I could split that onto a separate layer. Again, magic wand, click on it, copy it, paste it, and then delete it from the original layer, and you then end up with it on a separate layer. So what I've got is those two dots. So maybe at some part in the animation, if I get a new slide up here, I can go back to just that dot and then duplicate and then add what I want to add. Okay, so now we've got that kind of thing going on. Okay, so if you're happy with your animation, your animated GIF, you can then export it. If you want to make it a animated GIF that you can put on like a website, like WordPress or something like that, you click Save for Web. You then go to make sure the settings are set. You've got a preview here, so you can play it if you really want to, but it'll look the same as it did before. Click the Save button. Instagram post YC, I'm going to leave it like that. Let's just pop it on the desktop for now, but I wouldn't recommend saving stuff to the desktop because it can get pretty clogged up. But for now I'll save it to the desktop just so I can demonstrate to you how it then works. If you go back to the file that you've just saved then, right click on it and click Open With, and open it with Internet Explorer for example, you should be able to see how it will work on the internet. And that is how you make an animated GIF.